Hello and welcome to AM Guitar, and I just wanted to do a little video today to kind of talk about what an amazing couple of weeks it's been in the guitar industry. So, in the last 2 weeks, so much cool stuff has been released. I'm just trying to think where to start from. So let's go with the Squire Cyclone. Now, this is kind of a duosonic style offset body with 3 pickups and 3 switches for the pickups. And had you gone and spoken to me as a kid or a 16-year-old and said, what guitar would you build? It would have looked exactly like the Cyclone. Absolutely just love it. And I love Squires and I love Fenders anyway. And obviously Fender definitely watch a little channel like this. So, if you're watching Daphne Blue, that's all I'm saying. No? All right. But I'm loving their paranormal series where they're just trying interesting experiments. And I've spoken about the paranormal series before. So yeah, great addition to that. Great idea. Definitely at $350. It's a guitar that's in that price range where it's kind of going to be good. Not going to break the bank, but you're going to love it. Where can I get £350 from? Anywho, it's impossible to talk about the last couple of weeks of guitar stuff without mentioning Boss. Now, starting with the OC5. Now, this is their new Octave pedal. So back in '82, they released the OC2, which was a kind of an analog, monophonic, glitchy octave pedal that I think did 1 octave and 2 octaves down. And very, very similar to the Pearl octave pedal I used to have. Then they released the OC3, which was a digital processing pedal that did polyphonic tracking on, I think, again, 2 octaves down. It did analog as well. Also had a distortion built in, or an overdrive built in, but had this range control that allowed you to say that you only wanted notes below a certain range to be affected by the octave. So it became very, very popular with people who wanted kind of a big, chugging, deep sound, but wanted the higher end of the fretboard to still sound nice and clear. Now they've taken that another step further with the OC5, where not only have you got the 1 octave down, 2 octaves down, you've also got an octave up. You've still got the range control. I think you've still got the analog as well. So it basically just makes itself kind of a new standard for octave pedals, because the polyphonic tracking on them is just superb. The range control makes it really flexible. And it's not something I've seen working on other octave pedals. So again, they've built on such a great framework and just released something that's going to become, I think, a new standard for octave pedals. Then I saw they'd released their RC5, which is their looper pedal. In fact, they released 2 looper pedals. They released an RC500 loop station, which I don't know much about, but it's just a bigger looper with 3 buttons and does loads more stuff. And then the RC3, which takes, the RC5, which takes the RC3, which was a really good kind of looper with, lots and lots of space, loads of loops, and appears to add a drum machine to it. So you can have like 99 different drum type rhythms. So again, just building on something great and making it even better, but keeping it in that price range that gigging musicians are going to want, because to be fair, Boss pedals are almost indestructible. So that's why they are the mainstay of so many pedal boards now. And then, of course, we've got an odd entry into the market, the Boss GT1000 Core. Now, the GT1000 is a big old multi-effects unit that is one of those things that's become quite a staple if you want a modelling, a Boss modelling pedal board. Quite expensive, but very top end, really, really good stuff. Now, the Core brings all of that down into a 3-button, almost pedal board friendly pedal, which it's very hard not to compare with the Line 6 Helix Stomp. It appears to be after exactly the same market space as the Stomp, in fact. But I think it's about £500 or £600, so it's a lot more expensive than the Stomp. And it enters a marketplace that's dominated by brands like Moore, Hotone, obviously Line 6, and a few others, where those kind of 3-button configurations, sometimes with the pedal built in, with the kind of wah pedal built in. But it's a Boss pedal. So it's going to be sturdy and robust and well supported over the years. So I'm kind of torn on that one. I think it's very expensive, but I think it's probably going to do what a lot of, again, gigging and touring musicians are going to want out of what is essentially an extra pedal, an extra set of pedals on a pedal board, rather than something that's going to replace the whole board, just like the Stomp seems to be for Helix. So again, another, I don't know if it's a brave or an interesting choice to include, but I'm curious to see how it plays out, that one. I like the look of it, but I just could never, I couldn't justify the cost of it, but I might be able to justify the cost for Stomp as they come down in price. So, you know, we'll see where that goes. Another interesting one. Nobels have released a VST plugin with Lancaster audio. Now, I love Nobels as a company. I've learned a bit about them over the last couple of months, ever since I bought my ODR1. And in fact, if you've been following me on Instagram, you'll see I've just got myself one of their old delay pedals from the early 2000s. Now, back in the kind of early 2000s, they were producing quite a few more pedals. They've never been a huge company. Like the biggest, they're about 5 people now. They're about 3 people. But they just seem to churn out really good pedals. And they focus down on their overdrive. That seems to be the most popular of their pedals. They've taken a real sort of streamlined focus on producing the best overdrive they can. And now they've brought it to VSTs for people who record a lot and want a good overdrive sound that they don't have to actually have pedals plugged into their computer. So for me, for instance, when I'm recording songs, I tend not to use my pedal board. I tend to use VSTs. So something like having from what I've heard of it so far, and I'm trying to get a copy to demo, but from what I've heard so far, is a really good representation of what the ODR1 sounds like, plus some extra tricks like being able to reduce and increase the voltage to change the tone. That's a really clever move in the market to release something that is available to anyone with recording studio aspirations, anyone with a DAW, with Reaper or something. And it's a really interesting move, what is a very traditional family-owned pedal builders, to partner with someone like Lancaster. And I would love to see them revive some of their older pedals. So, for instance, the delay pedal that I've got recently, which I'll be showing on the channel soon, one of the reasons they discontinued it is the chip no longer existed that they were using for it. So creating a VST model of that would be fantastic. So yeah, keep your eye open on that one and see what they come out with. And then finally, and possibly the most surprising aspect of the last few weeks, JHS. JHS, known for good quality but somewhat pricey pedals, have all of a sudden released a range of 7 pedals, each one costing £99 or $99, or if you're in Australia, I think it's $149 exchange rates. And I'm both baffled by it and thrilled by it. So, start with the thrilled. 7 pedals. Essentially every pedal that most guitarists could want on a pedal board. Overdrive, distortion, fuzz, compressor, chorus, delay, and reverb, right? Now, Josh on his channel was talking about how they weren't direct clones of other pedals. They may have been inspired by other pedals, so it's pretty hard not to look at their Tube Screamer. Sorry, to look at their overdrive pedal and not think Tube Screamer. It's pretty hard to look at their distortion pedal and not think Rat when you hear it, especially when you see the little filter control. But what they've done is they've kind of taken classic sounds and circuits and done something with them that's interesting. And they've packaged them in identical looking boxes, all American made, all with the same components as their more expensive pedals. But just these kind of plain white boxes with black lines. Each one has 3 dials and 1 switch that does something. So for instance, with the distortion pedal, the switch changes it from what sounds like kind of ordinary, what you would consider Rat type clipping, quite hard clipping, to what I think is maybe LED style clipping. So it's slightly louder, slightly softer, slightly smoother clipping. Their delay pedal has kind of a switch that goes from analog sounding to digital sounding. Just little things like that. Reverb has a pre-delay switch. So it just takes what is an ordinary pedal and just ups it a little bit and keeps it at a price that puts it in that impulse price range. Yeah, really cool kind of series. And I like the aesthetics, like the iPhone aesthetic, very, very simple looking. My friend Eddie Rifkind, if you're watching this, get some of these pedals and start doodling on them with Sharpies, because you could do some amazing artwork on them. They're like it's a blank canvas. But the bit that baffles me about it is it not going to cannibalize their own marketplace? Because, so Josh was saying that the reason he's done it is he went back to thinking about when he was younger, what kind of budget pedals were there at less than $100 that he could buy that sounded great? And they're all plasticky, may have been good pedals, but they weren't really robust. And he wanted to build something that was robust, reliable, made with good parts. So this is where this came from. But this puts it in the same market space as Boss pedals now. Puts it in the same marketplace as boutique builders, who often are kind of around that £100 mark. And other kind of less expensive pedal. I mean, Nobels, for instance. I mean, their overdrive pedals less than £100, like 60, 70 quid. So they're in an odd market space where it's either going to cannibalize their own kind of product range, where people are going to go, I want a JSH pedal, but I'm not going to spend £200 or £300, so I'll just buy the budget one. It's possibly going to affect the sales of boutique builders in that price range. I can't see it scaring Boss too much, although maybe it should. Maybe Boss are going to have to look at that and sort of see what is really a premium product brand bringing out a budget range. Very much like you kind of Fender and Squire. You have your Fenders that are much more expensive and your Squires that are can be just as good, but much less expensive. So it's going to be fascinating to watch how that plays out. And I think they are going to sell almost instantly. I can't imagine anyone's going to have any stock of that within the next couple of weeks. I may try and get one. I may try and get maybe the distortion and compare it to a Rat, something like that. But yeah, what an exciting couple of weeks this has been for guitar. And I just wanted to share my excitement with you all, because I love guitars and I love the gear that's coming out now. What have I missed? Any cool guitars come out that I haven't spoken about? Any cool gear that's come out in the last couple of weeks that I haven't spoken about? Do you want me to do these kind of roundups more often, maybe, where I just have a little chat to you about cool stuff happening in the industry? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what I've missed, what I should talk about, what I should think about next. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon. Cheers, guys.